What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 469. My name is Steve, one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron.
Fuck everyone.
So applicable in so many cases, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's a good choice.
And John,
And John.
aka Mr. Fuck Everyone. That's what they used to call me in college. No.
I feel like that's when, like, on older radio, just when, like, the classic radio, they'd have like one of those.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like a whole piano that had all those sounds. Like, I didn't.
Oh, you mean like the kind of instrument you see where it's like the guy with all the noisemakers? Yeah. No, I love those things. You know, have you seen the pictures of or video of there's like a horror movie sound maker that's a similar thing of just a hodgepodge of different things. Look up Apprehension Engine. Everyone out there should look it up too. If you just go to YouTube and type in Apprehension Engine.
Wow.
It's like different versions of it can be made, but it's basically like a box, like a resonance chamber that people attach different things to, and when you see someone play it, it makes like, oh, that's not maybe where all those sounds in horror movies come from, but like, oh, you could make all those weird, those weird echoey, like kind of like a voice and kind of like a violin and kind of like a percussion thing that you'll hear in the background of a horror movie, you know, and it really makes me want to build one because I'm a nerd for that stuff.
I was watching an animated skeleton explain the device. He's like, it's a complicated machine with a lot of things going on, but it is the core of horror films. It's like, what the hell?
But
it wasn't like in a spooky voice. It was like, ooh.
Hello, it's me, Goofy the Skeleton.
Yeah. Here to tell you guys how to use condoms. It's like that's the kind of tone that the guy had. It's like
That's what it goes to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could use a condom somewhere on that instrument. Now, I don't know if the one that you're talking about, though, Ronald, has a name where it's like all the different things just like on one thing. But I bet there at one time or another it probably had a name of like, because you needed that.
There is, because a guy specifically restores them. I forgot what they call that thing. I was watching a video of a guy performing with one. It's like 8. It's like every sound that I love in all those like classic Warner Brother cartoons is like it's all there.
Yeah, I typed in old-timey sound effects piano thing. And it definitely took me to the video I've seen before of this old guy playing one. Or maybe, You know what? I'm looking at this guy. He may be an age cohort. I don't know. I used to call guys like this old guys, but every now and then I now realize, wait a minute. No, still got some hair on his head and some of it's dark. So,
Right.
so he may be someone from class of 91 like me.
Yeah.
But this one says, I'm sure somewhere that anyway, if anyone is listening, you know what is usually when we have this kind of tangent, I think someone out there is screaming at their their phone saying what we're wondering. I bet none of our listeners know what the name of this instrument is. I'm gonna put money on it that nobody that's listening right now knows what to call this thing. So nobody's screaming at us right now.
A scroggleophone.
Yeah, it's scroggleophone.
Fucking dazzles.
That's what it is until further notice. You know, Pierre Benoit might know.
Yeah, his like random facts in his head so he may know what that is.
So this is probably an off mic tangent, but not because of content, just because it's it's I don't know how interesting this will be to anybody listening, but I teach at the same school where Pierre teaches he does a seminar on black film, just all kinds of subjects that weave through that idea of making sure the kids can check out the right material. And I follow him on Wednesday mornings. I come in and I see his blackboard from the day before, and it's always great. It's always like, oh, I need to take a picture of Pierre's blackboard so that I can like do some research, or even just look and go, yep, he talked about that one.
Yeah.
I saw a few weeks ago he had talked about Devil in a Blue Dress, in class with the kids, and it's like, so anyway, that I wouldn't be surprised to go in one day and see Pascragalophone written on the board.
Damn, Pascragalophone. Yeah, man.
At any rate, here we are. And I just want to say this. This is like a good indication of how bro-y of a podcast we are. This is episode 469. We're just bro-y enough that I pointed that out, but not bro-y enough that we have anything naughty planned or, a topic that's like, gutter talk or anything like that. But it did cross my mind.
I really did have some stuff in my head that wasn't really even that funny, but just like there's this Twitter that I follow. There was like shit you hear like in a subway, like at a subway or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I imagine somebody saying like, I wouldn't have a 69, but if you're gonna have a 69, have 4 69s. You know what I mean? It's like things you hear kind of in passing at a train station. It's like, what the hell was that about?
I think the best way to make a 69 reference for this episode would be more philosophical, to say that we're working hard to give you a good show.
Yeah.
I want the listeners to be working equally hard as they listen to this episode. Do you know what I mean? So that we can create like a loop of mutual effort and appreciation. So just if you're out there listening, just kind of try to match our energy and try to give us as a listener what we're giving you as a podcast. I feel like that's the fairest way to play it,
4 69s.
Yeah.
Just in one room.
We're requiring everybody listening to arrange 4 different 69s.
That's the key.
In one room. That's how if that happens, we've started a cult.
Yeah. Of course. Can you imagine that skeleton guy explaining it? Hey guys, so this is a ritual normally performed by a cop.
It's me, Sally the skeleton.
Here to tell you about a cult ritual where 4 69s are performed.
That reminds me, though, speaking of a cult, I had an idea. I keep saying if anybody is listening, I hope somebody, if you're hearing this, then you're listening to it. So it's always a weird thing to say. But if you are listening and you ever run into one of us, and I don't know who listens to the show. So I'm going to ask that people feel comfortable coming up to me and saying, Schmovie.
Okay. I get that.
That's the little jingle, the line.
That's the way for someone to let me know they listen.
Okay.
So, and Ronald, are you opening up people to walk up to you and say, Schmovie?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Imagine you're in the coffee shop and some cool looking, I don't know, construction worker just walking out with his coffee, leans over and says, Schmovie.
Yeah, that would be pretty damn cool.
Steve, do you want this if it can
I'm
happen?
fine with it, yeah.
All right, cool.
This works for me.
So approach us in the wild, but don't say anything else. We don't want to hear anything else out of you.
Yeah, no 469 references.
Yeah, geez.
I'll immediately leave.
Yeah, that's off. Maybe I should have mentioned this plan in a non-69 related topic. I don't want people to get confused about what we've asked for. But yes, a friendly Schmovie, even if I just heard it in the room, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Oh, cool.
Like there's friends in the hills, it's nice to know. It's nice to know that you've got contacts out there. So
there's a listenership. I mean, the stats. I see the stats on the podcast site, man. So it's like people are listening, people are watching. So that's
at least some. It seemed like a lot listened to that Taylor Swift episode. I saw that spike.
Yeah,
I think they probably just came and went real quick.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was funny that you were about as much of a Taylor Swift fan as you could have been in your little what you said about that doc, Steve, or that whatever that was, the announcement movie.
Yeah.
Promotional video. And but you still got accused of like, oh, so you just hate Taylor Swift? Just say it.
Yeah. You can't win.
Say it.
It's fine.
Look, if you could just take the mask off and show your hater face.
Just tell me what you really feel.
Yeah, it's like, geez, wow. I thought it was very complimentary.
Yeah, it's okay.
For once on this show, Steve, explain how you feel about something.
Yeah.
Oh man, can't win. You can't win. So what's new? Anything exciting? I mean, we're going to talk about a required viewing pick here in a second, but is there any news, anything exciting that you guys want to bring up?
Well, Gremlins 3,
Gremlins 3.
greenlit with Chris Columbus directing. Is that what?
That's
what the
right.
word is?
Yeah.
I guess I understand why they. I mean, Joe Dante has kind of. I don't know his. Part of me wonders why we're not hearing Joe Dante's name come up in association with this. But I can understand. I mean, Chris Columbus is the kind of guy who we know can, like, he wrote the first one, right? Like, that's his connection to the first one. So I don't know as a director if he's the right guy, but I don't know who is. And I guess he understands the style. My only concern is, and friend of the show, Bob Rose, was commenting on this to me. Hey, Bob. Schmovie. If someone comes up and harmonizes with them, and then a room full of people start saying Schmovie in like 16-part harmony, that is cult shit. But like, no, but he was saying that it bothers him that he knows that Chris Columbus doesn't like Gremlins 2, and that he's the one coming back to do this. But, and I kind of agree in the sense that it feels like in 2025, if you're doing Gremlins 3, you kind of need to acknowledge that Gremlins 2 has gained a little bit of a... overuse the word cult in this episode, but it's a cult film at this point. Like, people have come out saying it's one of those movies that people have said, "Oh, I thought this was supposed to be bad," but it's actually really funny and weird, and it's more like surprising and strange that they made a sequel like that. But I don't know if I kind of agree with Bob in the sense that I don't know that I want to see somebody try to undo that kind of insanity. However, I also think if a movie played straight in the world of Gremlins could really work for people. So I don't know. I guess maybe that's the question. The reason I'm bringing it up is I'm wondering what you guys think about the tone. Like, should the tone completely steer away from the insanity and the parody of the second one, or should it find some way to kind of, to play both styles? Because I really do think it could be a really successful horror formula for the way audiences. I mean, we haven't had a movie like this in a while, with a bunch of little critters running around. What do you think?
I mean, Gremlins 2 feels like a crescendo of a Universal ride, like the last couple of minutes where it's just like everything's kind of coming to a head, and there's slime and slop and people smoking cigars, and it's like so crazy.
And guys banging gremlins.
Yeah. It gets so in Gremlins with lipstick, it just gets to the point where like it's so crazy that you're right. Like it feels. The problem is, I mean, even if he doesn't like part 2, so much time has passed that if you don't acknowledge that, you're kind of going to seem like an asshole. I mean, that could be weird, Like, it's not like he didn't like it and Gremlins 2 came out less than 10 years ago or within 10 years, So I kind of feel weird about that too. Now, now that you're mentioning it in context of that. I also have a really hard time pegging down how old Chris Columbus is, because I do know that he wrote one of the Gremlins, but also seeing him, people age. I think generationally, we have all experienced the people aging very differently than they used to back in the day. Like 67 now looks very different than 67 used to look a couple generations ago. Like, people are aging very differently. People taking good care of themselves. Like, I'd say 67 now, like, somebody could be in their 50s, depending on, they physically look like they're in their 50s sometimes. Yeah. Chris Columbus just looks, I could never peg how old he was. I was like, so how did he do Harry Potter and also do Gremlins? I was like, how did that happen? Like, how was he old enough at that point? Because he looks so young in those interviews. It just didn't make any sense to me.
I look at pictures of him, and yes, he's definitely one of those boyish dudes.
Yeah, he's like a boyish look to him. Like,
I always, not that I mix them up, but when I see photos of each of these two,
wait, can I say who I think you're going to say? Brad Bird?
No, I was going to say Richard Linklater.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
like, I think they look similar,
right.
And they're like a year or two apart, but I think they have a similar thing to what Ronald's describing, where like movies that they made a long time ago and movies that they made more recently.
doesn't make any sense.
Chris Columbus on like a bigger scale, at least commercially.
Yeah.
But like I've always felt the same feeling, and you see him in recent special features when they have these anniversaries of movies that he had stuff to do with.
Right.
And you're like, damn, he kind of still looks the same. He doesn't look like he's 67 or 65, respectively. But yeah, no. I mean, and overall, I think it's a pretty cool thing that he would want to come back and do it. I mean, I think that
yeah, for sure.
I think Gremlins definitely has found a way to kind of stay relevant, and through the animated series and through just like even commercials, just ways that it's kind of stayed in pop culture in the zeitgeist, and it's kind of like a classic movie. I think regardless of how you feel about Gremlins 2, and as that's the point of part of the question, it's like, I think just to see the franchise, back in a way, if there's something cool to do with it in a couple years, would be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
As a fan of both movies, I think you like them in different ways because they're completely different types of movies. But I think, I mean, clearly the Columbus vision is probably going to be much more in line with Gremlins, I would guess, especially just like where where he kind of falls in a lot of his filmmaking. I think even if the tone and the vibe of like you said, Ron, like Harry Potter, like his entry in that franchise, I mean, mainly because it's earlier in their age and in school.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge what he would do with one of the later, more dark
exactly.
books, so.
But a lot of his films kind of have a more family-friendly, a little milder. And I think there's a bonus that he has a very strong connection to it. And I think
it's a cool thing to do in that sense of a legacy sequel or whatever. The other thing is that I think is really noteworthy, and this could maybe hint at people that would maybe understand what we're saying, though, that you got to sort of acknowledge too, even if you're doing something more like one, the people that he's writing it with are the Final Destination's bloodlines.
Right.
I think the writers of that. So that feels like the right move, because when you look at like the way Gremlins cause shit to happen, bring a Final Destination kind of feel to the scenes where they attack somebody. It should be like the shit in the house is going wrong and a person's running around and trying to put out fires, and that's when the Gremlins get them. So I do think like someone could make it kind of nasty. But the first one was a PG, and I think the second one was PG-13. So that's another thing that makes me. I mean, I think that kind of to what you're saying, Steve. As much as I don't want someone to come in and say, "Well, let's course correct," because that's kind of relevant to what you're saying, Ronald. There's no course to correct at this point. Like it's been so long since the second one came out. It's not like audiences are going to be like, "Well, I'm still feeling burned by the way Gremlins 2 was kind of wild." No, like you're bringing it all back. So I do think the fact that Christopher. It's so funny what you want to call him, Christopher Columbus.
Everybody's doing it.
He's one of the only directors that people have torn down statues of. But the idea that it's like, oh, now he's coming at this from a different angle, it makes me feel, it's in that neighborhood of like, maybe at best, like Sam Raimi doing Drag Me to Hell or something, where it's like, okay, this person who has made mainstream or kind of like big Hollywood pictures is now going back to where they started. And Christopher Columbus has, his early scripts, he wrote a lot of Amblin stuff and Spielberg-y stuff. He was like a fantasy genre writer. Yeah. So it's like the idea that he's coming back to this is like, I could see, it's cool that it's him and it's cool that he's coming back. I think I would want them to realize that there's got to be some way to, if nothing else, just, the anarchic spirit of the second one would be a cool thing to see someone try to infuse a new movie with. But I could see where the temptation would be to say, let's play this straight so we can actually kind of freak people out.
Totally.
Because I think this movie could work in both ways. It could be hilarious and it could be really, really creepy. So... the other thing I just wanted to mention to you guys is, because I don't know, have we ever talked about method acting? Have you guys been following the back and forth between Brian Cox and Daniel Day-Lewis? They've gotten off some good lines on each other, but I don't know. Have you followed this at all, Ronald?
No.
Like a few weeks back, or really over the course of many years, Brian Cox has become this guy who... goes off in interviews and stuff.
Right.
And so
right,
he
right.
said
Yeah,
about
sure.
method acting, it called it American shit, and said it's fucking annoying on set. Like, he worked with Jeremy Strong. That was where he really made the news, is when they were doing the last round of publicity for Succession. And he kind of came out and was
I remember that. I remember
saying Jeremy Strong's a great guy, but he's torturing himself for no fucking reason, and he's buying into this bullshit. And he kind of blames Daniel Day-Lewis as his mentor, as Jeremy Strong's mentor, because I think they had worked together before. Have they, Steve? I think they had.
I don't know.
I think they had some kind of interaction before. So Brian Cox just doing his Brian Cox thing. And then recently Daniel Day-Lewis, because he's back out there, publicizing his recent movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. The Boxer, 1997.
Okay.
They were together.
So I'm just going to read some of what Daniel Day-Lewis said. I just think this is a good clapback. He said, "Listen, I worked with Brian Cox once and got somehow drawn into this handbags at dawn conflict inadvertently." And then he said, "Brian is a very fine actor who's done extraordinary work, and as a result, he's been given a soapbox, which he shows no sign of climbing down from. Anytime he wants to talk about it, I'm easy to find."
Yikes.
Yeah.
He said these hands are rated E for everyone.
But he also said people misunderstand the method acting thing. He said that it's this is this great great quote. He says, when he's staying in character, "I choose to stay and splash around rather than jump in and out or play practical jokes with whoopee cushions between takes or whatever people think it is how you're supposed to behave as an actor."
Jesus Christ. No, I kind of get that idea, man. Like, it's kind of the weird thing that we were hearing about Suicide Squad, the rats being sent, the weird things like that. And
Sure.
But I don't know if Daniel Day-Lewis has ever done anything like that. He just would want to be in character on set, and he treats you like his character would treat you, that kind of stuff.
Or what's the name, knocking his teeth out, Shia LaBeouf knocking his teeth out, or not showering at all. Things like that. You hear these stories about people being tortured or set by people that smell foul, have teeth knocked out, go on some of the drugs that they are supposed to be using in the movie, things like that. And while those are cool stories that travel very well, I think that there are some people who leave their jobs at home, leave their jobs at work. And, I think about the Denzels of the world that seems like when he clocks out, he clocks out. It's like some people feel like that. And then some people are like, I'm going to carry this forever.
Right.
Like, you'll catch me on the street and I'll be just as intense Shia LaBeoufs of the world. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm learning to cobble shoes, or I'm learning to, play violin or whatever thing it is. And it's like, for that actor, that's part of the challenge and the process of playing a character. Steve, what do you think? I mean, have you ever had any feelings one way or the other about method acting or the results?
Honestly, no. I feel like everybody can have a process, and whatever it is that gets them there. I mean, I guess some of it seems a little silly to me, but I'm not an actor.
Right.
And
right.
I don't find myself informed enough to be able to have an opinion on, I think, how someone approaches something that is their job and their craft. And I think it's just a matter of, I guess, slightly to what Daniel Day-Lewis is saying, like, some of it, if you're calling something method, is just somebody being like, or it feels at least like someone's just taking it too far.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you decide that line, because it's purely opinion. Yeah. But it's clear that when you keep space for that kind of approach, you really have to accept the fact that interpretation is up to everyone, if they're going to go for it. And if something crosses a line or something's inappropriate, clearly somebody could and should call that kind of thing out.
Yeah.
But the Christian Bales and these things that you've heard about actors, Jared Leto, like that. And the irony of it all is that everybody you're talking about, these are like, in some cases, multiple Oscar-winning actors.
I was going to say something about that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, the proof is in the pudding in some way. You're like, they're doing something right. So you can't sit back and say, well, like, it's never netted somebody that takes this approach. But the same could be said, people that don't do this, tons of them have won Oscars too. So it's like, is it that's winning it, or is it just that there's a talent, and what gets somebody to the point that they can do that? I personally don't care.
Yeah.
Some of it sounds silly to me, but I could care less.
I think it's kind of the same thing with me. Like, I think with like, I would have said very much the same thing about Process, where it's like, if at the end I'm watching a movie and I'm liking the performance, and one guy drinks all night and parties with the crew and rolls out of bed and splashes water on his face and shows up and goes blah, 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 and then like is in character when the camera starts, and another guy is sleeping on the set and like only eating the crackers that his character would have had in an era appropriate whatever. Like, I don't care if I'm watching a movie and I'm enjoying it, whatever got them to that point. But I can see how the working conditions would be weird, where it's like, if you are a Brian Cox who likes to show up and say, well, I know my lines and I know where the camera is and show me my mark and I'm good to go. God damn it. It's like, I understand why a guy like that would find it annoying that another guy is coming and going, you will call me Lord Dunselmore,
for sure.
But I don't think that, like, as someone who likes to play pretend, like I'll do improv comedy or stuff where it's like, I like to play pretend. And when I'm thinking about a character or working on a character, I mean, I'll find myself walking around talking like him or trying, like, I'd find myself like, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to play pretend. And so when Daniel Day-Lewis says he likes to splash around, it's like, I do think it's important that he, at least from his point of view, is contextualizing it as like, he's having fun acting and being in character. It's like the idea that it's this serious-minded, tortured thing, I think, is what I like. That's why I like his quote. He's kind of what we're saying here. It's like, oh, this is my process. This is what I do. This is not, it's not something where it's about like punishing the people around you. And I do think that's where the boundary would have to kick in with so much of this. Where it's just like, how much of an asshole are you trying to be on top of this? Are you using this as an excuse, to be a shit?
There's like an ideological thing about that I've noticed. It's like an effort. It seems to be effort related. Like, I used to hear this thing with jokes. What makes a joke really good is that the perspective lasts until your next joke. So like, if you're like, and she keeps fucking taking my money, and you stay in that character, and you're like pissed, and you're pissed, and you look angry. You kind of look angry as the punchline of the joke's going through. Like, people are like, oh, he really means this. This is real. This is funny. This is intense. And then people that don't give a shit about that, man. It's like, why would I do that? That's not who I am. It's just the joke. Sure. It's weird. It's weird.
Like, you don't get more laughs doing that. It's like...
Right. But then there are people that get more laughs doing that. It's a strange... It just doesn't work for everybody, but it does relate. It does seem to be related to seriousness and people's sympathy for it or lack of sympathy for seriousness. It seems to be in artistry.
No, I think you're right. I think it's like, and being taken seriously, and so forth. But I can so it's a combination. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously. It's like paves the way for that difficult genius bullshit that we've kind of gotten increasingly sick of in recent years, where you're like, okay, we put up with all this crap because the actor's so great. I don't think that's quite what we're talking about when we talk about method acting, like as a form of like practicing the craft. I think that like to act like it's a pejorative, you know what I mean? Is like, I think maybe what Daniel Day-Lewis is trying to comment on.
Yeah.
I think the closer the artists get to like acting like it's an effortless thing is kind of that's the Hollywood illusion thing that people it's this thing Justin Timberlake said that has been stuck in my brain since he said it. He's like, I'm
bringing sexy back.
I bring sexy back. But it was during that time, funny enough. He's like, I practice for 9 hours for me to get up on stage for 10 minutes to look like I'm just really good at dancing, just naturally. And that's just I think that's just, are you willing to have that level of commitment?
Sure.
To seem casual about a thing that you know what I mean? Like, people say like, oh, you just seem like you're freestyling on stage. I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess if that's what it feels like to you, but it's actually a pretty thought out thing. But all right. I mean, I get what you're saying. I guess it should feel like that, though. It should feel like somebody's just not trying really hard. You know,
I worked hard to make it look not hard. That reminds me
Yeah.
of one of my favorite quotes about showbiz that I don't actually know. Like, this is one of those things that could have been handed around and changed, and I don't know who said it originally, but when I was a kid, they would always say, Fred Astaire made it look easy, Gene Kelly made it look hard. But essentially, they're both great dancers doing a lot of the same moves. But you would watch Fred Astaire, and he's wearing a tux, and he really does try to make it look like I'm just walking in, and it's as easy as like water going downhill for me to do this.
Yeah.
And then Gene Kelly comes in, and he's like sweaty and open shirted, and like it's making it macho kind of in a strange way.
Yeah.
So, but it's like they're both great dancers, and they're both doing a lot of the same moves.
That's the old Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan argument. Like, Michael Jordan is finesse, whereas LeBron is just a big dude that can get stuff done. Like, he's a football player that's playing basketball, and it shouldn't be a thing, but it is. He's graceful enough, but he's not that graceful, and he's not quite as beautiful in his motions. And that is an ideological issue for people. People have a hard time processing that, even though he scored more points as a career, athlete. It's like, it doesn't matter. Michael Jordan is not is they're different planets to people. It's like, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Technique really is a thing for people, and execution really makes a difference to people. So,
but I mean, sports even makes it more clear because you can literally say, okay, they're both putting points on the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then you get down to the fields. That people be like, what about the fuck the statistics? What about when you were a kid, you were watching Michael Jordan glide across that? It's like, that's the different thing. It's like the emotional piece that people talk about. How did that performance make you feel? It's like, there's no stat for that. It's like, all right.
People talk about him gliding across the room, but like, who could really do that is Jamiroquai.
Oh yeah,
that guy could glide.
People
don't even talk. They don't even put him in the same conversation.
Yeah, bastards, man. They should definitely count Jamiroquai as a finesse guy.
So yeah, Ronald, or whose turn is it?
It was me.
Steve, Ronald, which way am I looking? Who's there? Whose voice was that? Why don't you bring us into required
Somebody
viewing?
help me. So last week we went through required viewing, and I chose Code 3. This is I guess, comedy, action, drama, a little mashup of a couple different feelings watching this movie. But this is a film with Rainn Wilson, God, what's his name? I'm blanking out. Somebody help me.
Laurel Howery?
Yes, Laurel Howery. I just kept seeing this movie like weeks ago. I thought it was already on digital, or maybe it was in theaters. But I just kept seeing this movie come up on a bunch of people's social media, specifically on Twitter, film Twitter, and on my letterbox. And I don't know. I've just been kind of seeing these little movies that come up on streaming, that are kind of like that action adventure comedy. There's something there to it that just feels like they don't put them in theaters anymore, so they're on streamers. And I don't know. I guess it feels like Amazon Prime Video has been doing a lot of these movies, like what was the John Cena Idris one?
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was like another kind of action comedy. And then the one I picked a couple weeks ago, or a month or so ago, with Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom, again, that was on a streamer. But I don't know. I just feel like these movies find a home on either digital rental, purchase, streaming service, whatever it might be eventually. And they seem to do pretty well there, because I think people find it's almost like it pulls them to these platforms, because they're not really putting a lot of comedy in general in theaters anymore, but especially ones that aren't like straightforward comedy films. But I don't know. So this just kept coming up, and this is kind of a movie about these two paramedics, working a shift together, and where one of them's leaving or quitting and leaving, and basically has to train this replacement but it just kind of goes through all these different encounters and, kind of exposing what life as an EMS professional looks like, in these situations that they come across over the course of that shift. And yeah, I just figured it was time to put it on the board and make sure we all watched it.
Steve, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What about the First Lady and the Vice President?
That part was so funny, man.
So good. So good.
That is honestly the
So
moment
good.
where maybe the biggest, like, okay, like this movie earned a spot in my heart with
Yes.
that joke, that visual,
Yes.
because we saw the thing before that.
Yeah.
And as this guy who's looking for a funny screenshot, I have to admit, I'm looking for two items I can sit between. That's the perfect shot.
There you go.
And then, there was a quick shot of the mounted squirrel, and I was like, "Oh, that's a funny background. I'll have to figure out how to crop that so I can use it as a background shot." And then later they cut back to it, and this time the guy said, "But what about the First Lady and the Vice President?" I love that kind of cutaway gag where it's
so
like
good.
it doesn't break the reality. It almost
Sure.
feels kind of Coen-y or something, where it's like
Sure.
it doesn't break the reality, but it just heightens the absurdity of what you're seeing. And then after laughing so hard at that, within like a minute. That's one of the more emotional scenes in the movie. The scene that follows that. Little Rel is great in that scene.
I know.
Where he and it's cool that the movie kind of passes the baton to him as far as like, if you ever wonder why did an actor take a script, and then you see a moment like that and you go, oh, that's a great moment, because this is not Rainn Wilson's moment. You know what I mean? This is Little Rel's moment.
I cried like a baby at that scene.
That was a great scene.
I was broken.
And I really didn't know how dark it was going to go, because this movie has been dark at this point enough for you to believe we could be seeing something really twisted. But in retrospect, the movie, like that that would have taken the movie to a different realm. That I think I like the way they handled that scene. I like that it ended up being like a small victory for the paramedics.
I don't know who this guy talked to for that scene, but it was done in a way that was so considerate of who they were as people. He had to have consulted a black person. I don't know. There's no other way to put it.
No, I
it's
believe
like
that.
I think that I don't know how this scene came out the way that it did, but telling him that he saw him in that moment and he felt what he was feeling and he put his hand on his chest.
Yeah.
And that broke me in two, man. Like I couldn't. I had to pause it. I had to walk away. I mean, because I think I've had these weird scenarios where like you're having fun and then a police officer will make it fucking insane. You're like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And it just escalates and escalates and escalates, and more cops are coming, and it gets a little crazy. And you're right, like Lil Rel handles it with a care that just is really cool. Rainn handles it really well, and Jessica, all of them in that scene were amazing, but especially Lil Rel and that character.
And just to give listeners a little bit of context, there's a line shortly before this scene that actually sets it up beautifully, because they're on their way to. There's a call that they're going to, and they happen to know who the guy is. They know who a lot of the people are that they're being called on.
Yeah.
And anyway, when the rookie, the character played by Amy Carrero, when she's like kind of like saying, well, why aren't you bringing in the cops? This sounds like it could be dangerous or whatever. And he says, Charlie is a 6'6" black man with mental health issues. Would you call the police? And instantly, as a viewer, you're like, oh shit. I mean, that felt like such like the movie had been pretty real, but that felt like real, And then, but it totally, when the cops show up in that scene after that, and it just, the guy doesn't have the wherewithal to know how to not seem like, to not aggravate that situation. Like he's in his zone where he's like, and we know from what he's going through that he can't just snap out of this state that he's in, and the cops are asking him to snap out of it, and it's escalating, and it's really freaking you out. I mean, honestly, that scene was potentially very upsetting, and it still kind of left you feeling emotional, but again, it really was, like I said, it was a little bit of a victory, because not all their scenes are victories. There's a couple moments where they're not able to do the thing that they would like to do. But I'm with you, Ronald. I felt the same thing of like, I wonder who consulted on this beyond the writer, directors, true life experience, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
worked as an emergency worker of some sort. Did I read that?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, what is it, Jeff? Oh no, Chris. What is this? Chris Leone?
Chris
Yeah,
Leone.
Chris Leone. Yeah.
And then the pill explanation, the fact that there's 30 days in a month, they only
Yeah.
has 20 days of pills.
Yeah.
Sometimes it lasts the whole month, and sometimes it does. It was just like a beautiful explanation, and not for nothing, man. Rain really sets up the dynamic of this job so well with his narration and talking about life and death. And it's funny, his views, while they're pretty somber, really clash with everything that's happening in front of him. It's like, people die every day. This is a thing. You live your life and then you die. But it's all this cold stuff. But underneath, there's a lot of love and care and
Yeah. Yeah.
attention to detail, and I can see how somebody could come in this thinking, "Oh man, this is just gonna be the most somber thing in the world." And while it is somber on some level, man, Rain and Laurel and Amy, really, the three of them together just make for a really cool. All of them have these definitive sort of like that's their scene,
Yeah.
or that's their couple of scenes. But man, I loved it. I love the dynamic between the three of them. It's funny that Rain just hated. He acted like he hated Laurel, like to be around him, but then he got around him. I don't know. I thought that was
No, you could. I mean, that they definitely had that thing, the good sort of buddy movie dynamic, and I
Yeah.
do think that when Jessica, is that her character's name? Jessica?
Yeah.
When she came in, you could. I mean, again, it's the setup of the movie. You could. It's what gives the movie a shape. Oh, she's a rookie, or seems to be a rookie, and they are. She's kind of literally between them. Like, they're riding around, and she's literally between them in the shots. So she's kind of poking in and asking questions and probing. And there's a couple nice moments where she comes to realize that Rain's character has a little bit more on the ball. Randy is really burnt out. In fact, there's an opening scene where he's in a job interview for an insurance company, which is interesting that his alternate career is insurance, which is another side of this coin.
Yeah.
That is like the side where you're not actively helping people as much, or at least the movie kind of paints it that way. You're on the phone trying to figure out how to deny somebody's claim, whereas he's used to driving around trying to save somebody's life at all costs. So it's like, it's interesting that those are the polarities. But he says in that job interview, he says, "I'm burning out, I'm burning out, I'm burning out, I'm burning out." Like, he says it like 3 or 4 times in a row. And you really do feel like Rainn Wilson is playing the sincerity of the kind of panic attack, nervousness. Like, you definitely will think about Dwight forever when you see Rainn Wilson. But if you're going to judge him doing a movie like this on Do You Ever Forget Dwight? I did. Like, there were moments where I was like, oh yeah, I'm seeing Dwight's little nose and Rainn Wilson, I'm hearing his voice. But I think that he, I don't know, I just think as an actor, he really is throwing himself into this role in a way that he's aged into, even the physicality of this role. He's like a guy who's like kind of slovenly and a little bit over the hill. It really leans into it. That's not like, oh, this is how we feel about Rainn Wilson, but I'm just saying an actor who from when he was much younger, to see him play this kind of character, it had a little bit of added weight to it, because the premise of Randy is he's been doing this job for 18 years that most people, in fact, I noticed what he said about it. It's like the way I feel about podcasting. He said, the fact is most people in this job can't last a year. They can't hack it. And the good ones, the really, really good ones, 5 years max. That's all they can handle. And then we find out he's been doing it for 18 years, So it's like as a character, not so much like if you do that job for that long, you've given up on yourself. But in this movie, it kind of positions it as this guy is burnt out and he's not really doing anything to save himself. And the one life raft that's like on offer is working for an insurance company, which you can picture all throughout the movie that guy's not going to be happy sitting in a cubicle.
Right.
Even if he's not doing the other part, which is being on the phone with people, telling them, trying to weasel out of paying them. So... Not that I have a low opinion of insurance, or as I call it, the great scam. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I mean, I don't think it's perfect, but I think that the tonal shifting it does, everything we've just talked about, is done with a reasonable level of like sophistication. And it, sometimes for me, just watching a movie, I just want to feel like I'm watching something that I can see why it exists, or I can see that I haven't seen it before. And this movie did that several moments, that I was like, wow, I haven't quite seen this scene before, and it was pulled off nicely by the performers.
I just feel like a couple years ago, before everything went to shit, that this would have been a theatrical movie. Like I wouldn't have done gangbusters, but I think this would have had a modest return. Like it has all the elements. It has a crowd pleasing element to it. It has, has some serious scenes. It has all this fun stuff. Lil Rel being Lil Rel, Rain being Rain. It's like that. This stuff really matters, and the interactions that he has with some of the characters. These some things that I don't know if I'll ever forget them. It really feels like a movie I may go back to at some point. If somebody wants something that's kind of in this genre, there's a British show that kind of has it's a EMT sort of show that I really liked. I forget the name.
Emergency Services.
It kind of sounds like. Is that the name of it?
Is that the one with Martin Freeman? Isn't there one? Or no, I'm not thinking of something else.
There's one with
the Responder, which we watched the first season of for this show. Is that what you're thinking of, Steve?
The black dude from F1. His assistant.
Oh yeah,
that was.
I know the actor you're talking about, but
I'm in my British bag from time to time. TV show wise, Samson KL. Let me find out the name of this one.
It kind of reminded me. I had that other movie I picked recently, the Asphalt City one.
Oh,
with the Sean Penn and Ty Sheridan. I mean, that was a much different kind of movie. That's much more of a drama thriller thing. But it's funny because I feel like. And honestly, it's not the same thing, but growing up, my dad is a retired firefighter for the county and is still a volunteer firefighter in our community. But so I was around a lot of, first responder, EMS, fire, police, all this stuff kind of growing up. And it's very much a, finding moments of lightness in some things like this that are extremely heavy and extremely, even you watch these shows like medical dramas, there's they're finding light in these moments of very serious, scary situations with horrible consequences for some that are participating in it. And I just thought that the way the movie still kind of showed how dark some of that stuff gets and how sad it is, more often than not. It's more of the rule and not the exception in a line of work like that, which is clearly in some way kind of how it impacted Rain's character. But I don't know. I just thought there was really a nice balance of, of a comedy. In that world, what that could look like and how that could function for a movie. And I thought I really liked it quite a bit, actually.
Me too.
Not perfect, but I think for the people involved with it, the performances were really good, funny, and emotional at times. But yeah, I just feel like you kind of go through the whole movie and kind of feel a whole variety of feelings, both for the characters and even just in response to the situations that they're watching or participating in.
Right. The movie never sells out the heaviness by leaning too hard on the comedy. It never totally sells out the comedy either. There's a few moments where you almost don't expect a comedic beat to kick in, and they have one. When they go to the convalescent home and they find the old lady who's dead, that they're not wanting to, which again might be a comment on the kind of bureaucracy of it. It's not wanting to say that they died there or whatever, or backing away from the fact that maybe they haven't been taking care of somebody. There's a little bit of a terrible story happening there that they come into, but when they're trying to prove that the woman's dead, and he's in a high pitched voice, he's like, "Hi, I'm dead," and she's totally stiff. The moments like that are just like so like almost on the line, but it's like if you've seen what's the Bringing Out the Dead, the Scorsese
Yeah.
movie with
Nicolas Cage.
that movie kind of got into this sort of adrenaline fueled madness almost of this job, and this movie does a different version of a similar thing of like saying like it's just relentless, and so you have one like you keep seeing people at the worst moment in their lives or at the last moment in their lives, and you have to move on to the next call. There was one other thing I wanted to just mention because I thought it was you were kind of mentioning, Ronald, like the truth of this job, that some little things you find out from the way they behave in this. That whole thing about nobody dies in the ambulance, I thought was a really interesting scene because it was one of those moments where it's played a little bit like not a joke, but the rhythm of it is you're finding out from these two guys as they're like hosing blood out of the back of the ambulance. You're finding out that like they have their own kind of thing of like we don't pronounce anybody dead. You know, once we leave with them, we bring them to the hospital where they are pronounced dead.
Right.
And again, I don't know how true that is in terms of just the definition of the job, but for these characters, it's like a rule of like it's like in the first scene, they're talking about trying to avoid the paperwork, and they're like going back and forth with the cop about like who's going to have to do the paperwork for this one. Yeah. And then the cop's so happy that the person's still alive and it's an OD, because it means that it's on the paramedics to do the paperwork. But if it had been a crime scene, then it would have been the cop.
Been right there.
Anyway, I just think that kind of stuff, where it's like that's funny and sad and bleak all at once, so
yeah. The British show in question is called Bloods. Samson Kao actually produced, wrote, and directed some of the episodes. So it's on Hulu. First, the 2 seasons are in there, really short. Kind of a similar vibe, honestly. It's him with somebody that's been in the business for a little longer than him. Same sort of dynamic, but it's a really good show. If you want to watch something it's a little lighter, if I'm being honest, but Bloods, Samson Kao. But yeah, I love that movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Thanks for the suggestion, Steve.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching it.
Yeah.
John?
Oh, yes.
That's your turn.
Pick.
Your turn, buddy.
I had so many good options, and at any given moment, I was like really struggling with what this choice was. But when I finally decided on this one, because there's a lot of threads I could be following right now. There's with Del Toro's Frankenstein coming out on Netflix, I could have chosen a Frankenstein movie. And we probably should still watch, like maybe I'll start a Frankenstein watching project just in my private time, and I'll come in and report about it. But I also, there's been a movie that I've been wanting to watch for the show for a while that I thought would fall into this slot. And then there's yet another movie that I've been thinking this is great. But then I remembered that when Robert Redford died, I had thought, it would be good to do a Robert Redford movie because there's so many that are classics. And then when I think about him, one of the first movies I think about, I mean, even though, The Sting is one that might get done for this feature one day, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid might be a good contender. But there's a little movie that I think I've heard people refer to as a perfect movie. I don't know if that's true. But I do think if you're going to call a movie perfect because it makes you feel cozy and it's fun and it maybe is like really entertaining from beginning to end, I don't know if it holds up as well as I think it might, but I think it's time to revisit 1992's Sneakers.
I feel like you brought this up before, right?
Yeah, it's a great cast. It's Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier, David Strathairn. At different points in their careers, kind of a caper, kind of a heisty thing. It has like outdated technology in it, but I recall that most of like the hacking and the computer stuff in it, a lot of it had to do with like personality profiling and things that actually might feel more current. And I also saw it pop up on a list of most realistic hacking, like that hackers think the hacking in this movie is realistic.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know, but it's a movie that I have definitely wanted to rewatch. I remember renting it when it came out, and I don't know. It was one that I remembered at the time thinking, wow, that was really good. And I don't know that I've watched it all the way through since. So time to revisit Sneakers.
Do we know where, what is it? Where it's streamable? If it's streamable, sorry.
I didn't even look to see where
Streamable.
Where it lives.
Is it streamable?
Is it streamable?
Able.
Abo.
Oh, we got some options here. We got let's see, we got streaming on Peacock,
Yes.
and then basically wherever you want to rent it. Otherwise, all the digital
Yeah.
platforms.
Here's the thing. I can't figure out why you keep doing this. You keep picking movies that people, I figured it out. I know what it is. It's not that you have good taste in movies. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, I think the people that do this, that are in this industry, are our age. And that's what I figure it is. This movie was just released in 4K, like just remastered, just redone through Shout Factory, I think. Who just merged with Groove. Have you heard this? Have you seen it? Have you heard it?
Jay Leno's on the podcast. Oh my god!
Have you seen it? Have you heard it? So Scream Factory and Shout Factory are one company, and they bring a lot of the horror films to this beautiful light. And I think they had a funding issue, and the company Groove seemed to have absorbed Shout Factory and Scream Factory into their website now. And I think they're still gonna make physical media, but the company as a whole has merged into this. Yeah, which I found out pretty recently.
I think your timing couldn't be more perfect, John, if you want to watch it on Peacock, because it leaves Peacock in 8 days.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
It is on there as a part of both the standard and premium, and it says
Holy
leaving
moly.
this platform in 8 days.
Get the hell out of.
If enough,
Otherwise, you can rent it on Amazon or Apple TV for $3.99.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
if enough people out there
That's
say
not bad at all.
Schmovie to Peacock, they will keep this movie up. So give this movie the
There you go.
Schmovie bump
There you go.
on Peacock. Have them wondering, like, why was there a sudden uptick in plays right before we took it off?
What's the
Hey, what
surge?
the heck?
Too funny. All right, cool, man. What else? You guys watch anything else you want to talk about tonight?
I have
Third
one.
episode of
Welcome to Derry.
Welcome to Derry.
Now,
Did you guys see it?
are we allowed to talk about this yet? I'm just wondering because is the embargo? Do you know what the date is on the?
Oh,
The episode comes out on Sunday, so maybe we could just talk about general feelings about it without talking about anything that
Oh,
happens.
yeah.
I think that's how it works.
Out of the theater review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her,
I'll look this up to be sure, real quick.
so we don't get taken into Derry.
Yes.
They'll actually take us into Derry, because this was one of those ones, as they say, in terms of iconology.
Here we go.
Yeah, it was. What does it say?
It says specific plot points from the episode should be held until after the episode has aired at
Okay.
10 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay, well, we won't
Okay.
talk about
So certain
specific
plot points.
Yeah.
Okay, certain plot points. Okay.
It's a bit ambiguous. It doesn't say. So
Yeah.
I would say that the show seems to be answering my question of, like, are we going to now settle in with this group of characters for a while and care about them more than we did the characters in the first episode?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that answer is, maybe what you would expect, but I do think that's an interesting, like, I'm going to be watching with interest how they how they play that. Like, can the show maintain, if it shifts more into like a Stranger Things gear of like, oh, we're following all these characters, and out of this is anarchic horror, and you have no idea who's going to get ripped apart at any time. Like, this episode
Yeah.
felt very much like, oh, now we've figured out which characters we love. But I thought they did a good job. I don't think the scares were as good in this one or as imaginative. And I did notice that it wasn't directed by Andy Muschietti or Muschietti, or Paschetti. But I don't know. I wonder
Mom
if that's
spaghetti.
just Andy Mom Spaghetti.
I'm spaghetti.
But like, so I don't know. That's not like a knock. The show's still like, I'm still very much wrapped up in the show, but I do think,
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested to see if if some episodes, if that's going to have make a difference in terms of which episodes really feel like memorable and cinematic in that way in terms of the scares. But I thought that, like, when they get down to it, there's a manifestation of the evil in this that has to do with kind of like ghost images, and I thought some of that stuff was really cool and really creepy. Some of it felt a little Harry Potter to me, but
I kind of liked it. I kind of like that it felt like that this episode. I think
because it can be different, right? Every time Pennywise shows up in some form, it can be like a different type of scare.
Yeah. It really feels like they're trying to do a bunch of stuff, but again, I really hate to keep. And you brought it up. You said it this time. I didn't want to say it. It feels very Stranger Things. It feels very like. This town.
It's hard for it not to, right?
Undergoing something, but it feels different in the way that the time's different. That makes a huge difference. The time being it being a different decade in American history.
Yeah,
that really does play a role. The fact that this is a part of a bigger world that we know, several worlds that we know, and hints about other. Is there a word for that? Kingian? Like Steve Kingian? Is that the word?
The Steveverse?
The Kingverse.
Yeah, it just really feels really interesting to have so many pieces of connective tissue that are connected to this bigger world. And it really kind of solidifies that maybe Stephen King really was trying to connect more of these things than people know. I mean, people know that some of
well,
this
he
stuff
did
is
it all the time, right? But I don't think it jumps out at people that aren't like super fans, right?
Right. And I think that this is the cool way to do it without shoving it down people's throats. And it also can incite somebody who isn't a super duper Stephen King novel reader to become one. I mean, this feels like an introduction for somebody, like it really is introducing so many different parts of his storytelling, and doing it in a cool way. And the kids are so likable, man. Like, how could you not like these kids?
Yeah, that core group is really, really.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the situations happened with. We had a character that felt like they had no choice but to make the move they did, trying to make this move right, trying to make it right, trying to be friendly, trying to, right the ship. And it didn't feel disingenuous. Like, it felt like a real cool.
Did it feel to you like they skipped an episode's worth of stuff with her in that?
Yeah.
For sure.
At the hospital? Yeah.
Am I tripping? I mean,
no, that definitely felt weird to me.
Yeah, it was like she was tortured, right? Like
it felt like they were setting up an episode that would have been horrifying, which is her in that environment with all this crazy shit happening.
Yeah. I was thinking a Clockwork Orange, eyeballs open, needles going into she just watches a bunch of things that are, it just felt that's the way she was. And even if some of the pictures that they show in the intro of people being in the hospital, I thought that was sort of in her flashbacks even that she had from they showed little like, oh, I don't want to go back there, and they showed a little clip of her being held down. That stuff really felt like it. I didn't want to see her get tortured.
I didn't want to see that, but I expected an episode of horror of her being in that environment.
Same,
and it's like it was really like they just said, we're not doing that.
Well, maybe they'll come back to it. What if they come back to it in a different way?
Well, because Madeline Stowe was there.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's as far as we should go with the story details. But Madeline Stowe pops up, and she's a big name, and she's in the credits and stuff. So it's like, I don't think that's the only time we're going to see her. That would be weird if it was. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we're going to get more there.
Maybe there's something to that. Because, I mean, there is something to it being glossed over that way, and maybe it being a bigger part of the story than we may think.
Right.
Yeah, like,
it just felt strange. I'm glad you guys.
It was, it really made me feel weird because they made such a big deal. She was literally screaming about it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, I think I was I was getting my palate ready for some torture.
Right.
Like that. I'm like
just some child torture.
Some child torture. Just a little child torture. But yeah, I'm really liking these core characters. All kind of bring something different to the table.
I like the deeper look into the timeline we get,
Ooh,
and I
yeah.
like what it does with a couple of characters
Yeah.
for that. Like I thought that was neat. I didn't know they would get to that other timeline until the future season that's meant to take place like in
Yeah.
that part of the past. But I thought it was cool to see a glimpse of that and then find out, just a little bit more about characters that you might have thought were interesting before, but now you can kind of understand they have, a connection.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
This just felt like a speed up episode. I also felt like two characters that I didn't think were going to talk for a while started talking.
You're talking about
They
the dinner
literally-
scene?
Yeah, they literally weren't talking to each other. He was like looking at him like, well, so jerk. A jerk has been hired. He's like, it's like he literally was like that for the first two episodes, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's have dinner together with the.
Well, the jerk, you mean, which is the new guy, right? Like the guy, the man with no fear. The fact that we know where he ends up in the, if his character in the movies is the granddad of Mike, the guy who kills the pigs, I think.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm just saying that guy doesn't end up in a great place unless it's a different.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's the same character. So
Yes,
I'm just saying that's an interesting trajectory. That doesn't seem like the trajectory this guy is on.
Right.
So things change for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's I don't know. That makes what you're saying kind of interesting because it's like none of these characters are necessarily in. Like this is, speaking of that horror mix, this is a show that definitely is leaning into the horror. I don't know if I talked about that on mic or off, but like how horror is your show. I do think this show has horror in its bones. And so I do think like some characters are going to clash and bad things are going to happen. So you got to throw these characters together. But I like the sort of tentative friendship that seems to be forming there, Ronald, of the characters you're talking about. And I think Chris Chalk continues to be pretty interesting. And, I think Dick Halloran, I'm interested to see another person with The Shining. I'm just interested to see like what they do with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or with The Shine, I should say.
Yeah.
So go. I'm trying to connect something. So you were saying Will is Mike's father, right?
Right.
So Leroy
Is the grandfather.
is the grandfather. So okay, yeah, I got it. Okay. So right, so you're yeah, like the kid character that you really love, even if he's okay here, he's not okay later in the story.
Okay. Oh,
I guess, right? That's what you're saying. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what we know, rather, based on the films.
yeah. You know what I do? I would love. I gotta watch a breakdown of like this episode, and I need somebody to show a character from the movie, show the person beside them, and show the relationship. I do kind of need that. I do kind of need to see the faces of the people. Like, oh, you know this person? This is the grandson of this person. I do need to see that a little bit.
How about if an
it's a
angry
little hard
paramedic played by Rainn Wilson just comes in and looks at the camera and says, "What you're not getting about this situation is," and he just tells you all those relationships.
Or have a guy that's a skeleton. Hey guys,
Hey, it's me, Silly the Skeleton, back again.
here to
With
talk
some-
about the relationships between the old movies and the new movies and the series. Welcome to Derry. It's like, oh, okay, thank you, Mr. Skeleton. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm loving the way that it's moving. It's yeah. I feel like we talked about it without giving away too much, right?
No, I
feel
don't
like
think we said. I don't think we said any plot really that happened,
Yeah.
except there's a dinner,
Yeah.
and we revealed about the hospital thing. But I don't think that's specifics in the way that they mean it. Often they'll furnish us a list of things we're not supposed to talk about, but they don't. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that? Where sometimes it'll be like, "Don't talk about the nature of this character."
Yeah.
Don't talk about.
I do. I am really interested in that whole Shining.
I mean, they're playing it like a superpower, but I like the
Yeah.
way that it's like that kind of superpower that he can't really control, and it kind of takes a piece out of him when he uses it. I think that's a
Yeah.
cool thing.
The Shining.
I need one of those videos too now, Ronald. My brain's
do?
kind of my brain's breaking a little bit because
It's like
I'm trying to keep the timeline because the timeline from the book to the movie is the years are different.
It's like the same span, but they bumped it up when they made the movie so that the past would be the 80s.
89, right?
And in the book, the present was like 86 or whatever.
Yes.
So but it's still 27 years between each happening. So that's just changed the.
So Leroy, Will, Mike.
Yes.
Will is the child in this series.
Yes.
In 62. This is in 62, right?
Yes,
yeah, 62.
Yes. Yeah.
So
in 89, Leroy is a different dude, a scary, sad seeming dude.
Right. Yes.
And Will is we don't know. I mean, we assume things, but we don't know.
But how would that happen between that time? Or when would that happen? Because whatever, never mind.
I have a feeling they'll close the loop because it's the same team, but it does not seem like that guy. You know what I mean? It seems like, man, that's why I was saying some shit would have to really change. Well, for this
Leroy
guy.
doesn't. Yeah, Leroy definitely doesn't seem like that guy, but Will,
we don't really know.
Yeah,
what happened?
Yeah, but like in the movie, they say that the parents die in a fire, and you think it's the black spot fire, or you right. Or you. But that happens in 62.
I think there's another fire.
Oh, okay, so it's not the black spot fire.
Right.
That's kind of you see that scene with the people coming out of the door, the fire. Yeah, I probably just have that wrong. But yeah, this is cool. Like this is kind of the stuff that's kind of fun to think about because you're right that the fact that it's the right team or the same team rather, and the fact that we know what the big events are, both in what the 1, 2, and 3 seasons would be. Like, it is the Black Spot Fire this season. They already talked about the Bradley Gang Massacre from 35. And then the 08 is supposed to be the Ironworks explosion?
Yeah. So,
like, you know what these events are in this timeline at each occurrence. So, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool to try to map it out before you even see it, but stop getting ahead of myself.
I think I just did a little quick look up here. I think Mike's parents died in a house fire.
A house fire, okay.
So it's just meant to be like a thread in that family.
So it's got to be at some point, like in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, somewhere enough for him to be born, but not old enough to really.
How old are the kids in chapter 1?
Are they like 10 to 12, 10, 13? I mean, I feel like maybe they aged them up a little bit.
Yeah. 11 to 12 years old. I remember in the book they were 11, so they maybe 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this has been a good session for us to figure this out.
I know. Folks, it had to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. No, this is the fun stuff. This is something that we all are super into, and
this is us putting up the corkboard and drawing yarn.
We got get the meme of Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, drawing yarn across from one push pin to another, and then like
There's to Ronald's point, there's definitely a video out there that's already done it for us. Somebody's just gonna find it,
and it probably has hundreds of thousands of views.
Screen what is that? Screen Rant or what's that guy? I always see him pop up in my feed.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, yeah, I thought this was another good episode. I mean, honestly, like the little breadcrumbs of the story that we know and the story that we don't coming together are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I was going to say that, like, I feel like in general, I kind of have a negative, well, maybe not negative, but not a great reaction to anytime it's a part of stories like this is a military element. Yeah. Every time this military stuff comes up, it just I don't know.
It feels samey. It feels like you've seen this exactly.
It's because it's like. Eventually, it comes into play in like every horror franchise or every or every suspense thing. It's like, oh yeah, they're using the shine to find it. What are they trying to find it for? Oh, to use it as a weapon, of course. Like,
Yeah, of course.
it's just like that is very samey. You're right,
And
John.
it's not
but
scary. It's not scary.
it's not at all. It's rather. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's like all pretty boring to me.
I do like the time stuff that they're doing with like the. I guess I won't want to.
Yeah.
Plot point. The plot point of the one of the military guys having a past with somebody.
I would
thought
say
that
that's
was
the
really
only
cool.
thing that probably seems like consequential, like that
That's
matters
it.
to me.
That's it. Yeah.
And
They could have
that's
skipped
almost like
everything else.
intentionally there. I'm sure for the criticism that I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, there's a connection at some point that you learn.
They were in the writers' room like, hey, Steve doesn't really like the military stuff. We're gonna need to have an emotional connection. Let's throw in this guy.
We've talked about this before on the
Yes.
podcast, but like in general, like I don't know, man. The military stuff just kind of.
It's ass. It's not really done well.
No, I know what you mean. Like it doesn't feel. It always kind of takes the story out of the intimate, personal realm, and then you have to deal with it. Like
that's it.
Do you know? You know why?
It's like it becomes a plot element you have to deal with. This giant army plot line, as opposed to like someone like scared kids running around in a cemetery is so much more intriguing and interesting than like this giant apparatus and these warehouse like secret buildings and all this stuff where you just no, they're not doing anything to make that feel particularly developed. Whereas the other stuff is interesting. Yeah,
you know why? You know why? And it's a problem that I have with every profession that a person writing it does not do. It's written like porn. It's like, hey, I'm a lawyer. I like to do this paperwork. I'm like doing lawyer stuff. It's like,
well, here at the military base, we're doing secret things, and you're the new guy, and you got to get used to it.
Hey, fuck up. You better know how to behave when you're in a military setting. It's like, it's the same. It's like all porn thing. It's all porn lines.
I'm here to fix the military. Yeah. Come on in.
Come on in. What are you doing here? Where's your paperwork? Well, it's right here.
I'm your superior officer.
Yeah, it's literally written like a porn scene. And the funny part is like all of this stuff, all the horror stuff is written like intricately, and then the military stuff is loosely written like porn. It's like all.
No, that's a great comparison.
It's what's always bothered me about those military scenes. It really feels like somebody who's never been in the military ever in their life, or even have seen an episode of something in the military. Yeah. It feels very like cursory. We're cursory. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it.
If I were to watch a movie that had like, bringing up warfare, that had oh god, it looks like porn. Like I'm about to show you some porn.
Hold it up in front of your shirt. Hold it up in front of your shirt. That'll get it to it. There we go.
Yes, that'll do it. If it were handled like warfare, if it were like, it felt like a first-hand account of this.
Did you just get physical?
I got a little physical. Oh, I got super physical. Gang came to my house the other day. Gang.
They A24 themselves came to your house.
Yeah, they via mail. Give me a second. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second, and I have to go get.
Okay.
I have to go get this. I'll be right back.
Don't trip. But I know what you mean, Steve, about like the military. It's because like the imagery, it just feels like you have to do a lot to distinguish it. But it also is that thing of like, it reminds me of like when you're watching a slasher movie and then there's a scene where like 50 cop cars show up and you're like, well, this is a different kind of movie now. Like this
agree.
This is a story about a bureaucracy or a whatever.
No, that's 100% it. You're right. And it's just like I don't know, man. There's like a literal reaction in me anytime, like when I kind of realized how important that stuff would be to this movie or to this series. It was like a moment where I was like, ugh.
Not again.
Like what and not only that it's involved, but like there's an element of The Shining in it that is then that it is what is connecting it to it.
Yeah,
like that the military is what ties The Shining to it, which is kind of like, all right, well, we'll see where it goes, but
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Dang.
Ronald.
So at one point you had to go overseas to get these goddamn movies. But A24, bless their hearts, has packaged the X trilogy
Oh,
together
nicely.
in one pack.
Nice.
3 films by Ty West, all in 4K. Yeah, this is a cool 3 disc collector's edition box set of X and Pearl and Maxine. And I pre-ordered it a couple months ago. Took a little while to come. I cannot wait to watch it. Yeah, yeah.
I'll get a little physical. This was sent to me by a friend who texted me to ask me if I had it, and when I said no, they said, "Well, now you will," and I was like, "That's awesome." But John Carpenter's "In the Mouth of Madness" is out on 4K now, and it's got lots of new extras and such, and all the old extras. It's Arrow Video. You know, they do a good job with these repackagings and stuff, and they do a good job
new
too
Criterion, man.
with this like B movie type material that, or I say that with a lot of love, but a lot of movies that don't necessarily get. It's not so uncommon nowadays, but it's because of companies like Arrow that movies like this get the kind of special treatment that you're right that a Criterion type film will get, and just so shout out to friend of the show Patrick Anderson for sending me that, and also. A guy I'm friendly with. I've talked to him a couple times for podcast stuff, and he's a great writer and a great podcaster himself. Paul Myers has a new book out about John Candy called John Candy, A Life in Comedy, and it's supposed to be great.
Oh, wow.
And I've only read a little bit of it, and it's kind of having a little moment alongside the documentary.
Yeah.
And he was actually at an event in New York where he was in conversation with his brother Mike Myers, so that's awesome. And I believe Ryan Reynolds was either at that event or at some adjacent event. And so there's pictures of my friend Paul like standing there with Ryan, like the guy who wrote the book and the guy who produced or whatever the documentary.
That's cool.
And there was another. He's just been having a cool book tour around it, and you can just kind of see. I think there's a lot of it's cool that John Candy is having a moment, and it's cool that you have the doc and this book that are both kind of like they're complementing each other. It doesn't seem you always wonder, oh wait, is that going to hurt your book that there's a doc that comes out right at that moment? But I think in a weird way they've kind of gone hand in hand. And there seems to be a lot of interest in this book. So I have not read it yet, but the first chapter that I read is really great. Paul's a great writer of writing about pop cultural stuff and giving it context, and he always writes about stuff that he cares about too. So you take someone who cares and who can basically get anybody that you would hope to that he would have gotten to talk to for this book. He got all the people that you would love to hear talk about John Candy.
So Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour arrived to the premiere together.
And they both have black eyes.
I wonder if she pulled a switchblade out on him. If you try any funny business.
She could pull some 11 shit on him and make him bleed out of his ears or something.
Yeah. Damn, man. I don't
want to know that Red Guardian is an asshole.
Right. I was gonna say yeah. When
You're telling me Hellboy is an asshole? Wait, maybe so. You're telling me all of his characters. You're like, wait a minute, maybe there's a thing going on here.
I can't believe he hurt my baby Lily Allen. That's the thing, man. I'm a big Lily Allen fan. He fucking David, I got.
Well, she's been talking about it. She's a very candid person. She's been talking about their dynamic for a while. So I do think it's always a little bit. I mean, I like Lily Allen a lot. I'm just saying it's always a little unfair when you have a breakup and then you happen to be, but you knew when you got with the person that is a famous writer of candid pop songs where she tears people apart. But it's it is a little bit oh shit, you pissed off Lily Allen. Oh damn, there's going to be a whole album about you.
Yeah. In the words of Nas, you're a slave to a page in a rhyme book. You're gonna be somebody. Just go write you down. You're gonna get something personal written about you. Yeah, you'll be a slave to a page in a rhyme book. Anything else? You guys watch anything else?
I saw Frankenstein.
In the movies?
Yeah, I had to go see the new Del Toro.
I was going to, man. I was going to go to Alamo Draft House, and it just didn't work out. It just did not work out. How was it?
You know, I have a feeling maybe after if you guys might watch it this week, I've got a feeling. You know, we could do maybe more of a segment on it if you guys watch it. But as far as it goes, it's like, you know, Del Toro, this is like his passion project. So you're gonna see that on the screen when you watch it. It definitely has all the wonderful things and the kind of indulgences that you might expect from one of his movies. But it's what I think is interesting about it is how much of a take on the story it is. It is not, even though he loves the book and that's why he made this movie and it's been the thing he wants to do forever. He brought so much of his own personal angle to this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I don't want to say more because it kind of reveals like the way the movie handles certain story elements, but it's a particular, like, there's a sympathetic aspect of the creature in this that is really emphasized, maybe more than I've seen in most other adaptations. So it's not fully faithful, but it is pulled off with the kind of care and the kind of eye for detail that you get from one of his movies. What's crazy is how much insane stuff is in this movie that's not in the book, and it's just pure Del Toro. But there's also a lot, just the feel and the again, the kind of gothic setting and stuff. It really does, like, I could imagine a lover of the book seeing this movie and going, oh, it's too bad that he wasn't more faithful because he's doing such a good job with it. I would love to see my beloved book done in a super faithful way with this kind of care. It's kind of like the way people felt about like the Lord of the Rings movies. There were a lot of book purists that were like, what? They didn't do this and this and this, you know? But other people were like, I'm happy to see a version that looks this good. So I feel like for Frankenstein fans, it's going to be an interesting thing to see this movie because some of them are probably going to say, why did he add that? Why did he change that? And other people are going to be like, wow, somebody depicted certain things that are part of the original story where it's like the creature is a little bit more intelligent. You know, we've seen that in the Robert De Niro, Kenneth Branagh version. But like he's not like a nonverbal beast. He's a sensitive, intelligent creature. Okay. But I don't know. It really is like powerful and interesting, largely because of Del Toro's passion, what that means for the story, and what that means for the luck and the lushness of it. And it really makes me wish we had gotten that big budget Lovecraft adaptation with Tom Cruise we were supposed to get a long time ago from Del Toro, just because the way that it's like there's few directors that do it. Terry Gilliam is one that just pack the screen with details. Like, like shots are just lavishly art decorated, you know? And this movie has a lot of that, a lot of kind of eye-popping stuff, and a lot of played straight in a way that's very melodramatic and very gothic. Which I think some people are going to enjoy and some people are going to be maybe put off by. But I don't think you can miss the sort of obsessive nature that's on display in this. And that's always fun to see. It's fun to see someone like Del Toro get to make the dream project.
At any point, does Frankenstein turn to the camera and say, fuck AI? Because I've been loving this. Somebody needs to make a supercut of how many times he said this on his media run. It's been more than 4 times. Yeah,
he's very candid about it. He said I'd rather die
he
than
got
use
the
AI.
Crowd that chanted once. He just said it randomly leaving one of the screenings. He's like, all right, I love you guys and fuck AI. All right, see you later. It's like, what? Yeah, so it's been interesting.
He's one of those people I love. Even if I don't always love his movies, I always admire them, and I have often loved his movies. But he's just one of those people. Like, he is there's a pure pleasure for storytelling and weirdness and
man. He's a force, man.
He really is.
I want to see him make movies until he's 95. You know, he really has a unique take on things, and there's always a heart in the center of it.
Yeah.
In the middle of all the visuals that I'm always a big fan of. So, you know, I'll always go see something of his. And I'm mad that I didn't get to see it in the theater. Is it 3 hours?
It's 2.5.
Okay. Does it feel like 2.5 hours?
You know, it's one of those movies that doesn't feel, it's not like it moves at a brisk pace.
Okay.
But there's no point where I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Get this over with, you know. And I do think it's an interesting thing to see it, like how much when you hear him talk about why he made it and the choices he made, and then you think about the differences in the adaptation, it really is an interesting movie to kind of unpack in that sense of like what he brought to it from his personal history and what he relates to about this story and how he changed it. You can really go, oh wow, he's really kind of, it's not autobiographical, but in some ways it is. I mean, you know, I know that sounds contradictory, but I think he put a lot of himself and his story and his relationship with his father in this movie. And when you think about that watching the movie, it kind of breaks your heart.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Let me ask you a question that's kind of a bigger question related to this, because this is a Netflix movie that you're seeing during a theatrical run. Do you think that Netflix should do this more besides the promises that they've been giving to the bigger directors? There's this, and then The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that's coming out. Yeah, do you feel like more Netflix movies should have theatrical runs like this?
I mean, in general, yeah. I'm surprised with the stuff that they make that some of that stuff isn't intended to be theatrical. This is a little related to what you said about a few years ago. A movie like Code 3 would have had a different path. And I think it's weird, but I do think there is still kind of a Netflix quality control level that they when you give it to someone like Del Toro and you're kind of indulging them and saying, make the movie you want to make, that's something you're like, I'm glad they're doing that. But it's still kind of part of their process is maybe not to develop projects the same way a lot of cinematic projects are developed. And so I do think that if they were all like this, then yes, definitely. But in general, I think the only thing that's strange about seeing, it's still strange to be sitting down in a movie theater and see Netflix really huge on the screen. It still sort of feels like, okay, this is something you watch at home. But I think it's almost like they have to. If we're going to consider that theatrical is still a destination for movies and a desired destination for movies, but also the kind of caliber of people that they're working with. Like, it would be really weird to have a Guillermo Del Toro movie and then not put it out on a few screens, you know? So
they want to buy Warner Brothers. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, you know, if they get Warner Brothers, there's on the town, there's a rumor that Comcast and Netflix may be trying to buy it together and split the properties. Then there's also Netflix is assessing the IP and they might try to buy it themselves. It would be very strange if Netflix were to buy Warner Brothers themselves, and they'll have the DC universe, they'll have Game of Thrones, and all these properties that could maybe get some movies out of it. I mean, I'm thinking of DCU for one thing. What if we go from a theatrical movie that was supposed to come out, a couple that were supposed to come out every year, to all of them going straight to Netflix if they buy Warner Brothers? That is a crazy idea. Like, that would be...
Yeah. It starts to... I remember back a few years ago when we were doing this show, realizing that if we weren't careful, talking about all the tentpole movies, we were just going to become a Disney show.
Yeah.
We'll just be becoming a Netflix WB show, you know, if we eventually are talking about all the DCU stuff and Game of Thrones and this and Welcome to Derry and you know, whatever else.
It would be crazy. So. Like, everything would be home. Like, it'd be like,
but it's always bad, right? Year. I mean, we don't really like it when it becomes too...
Hell no, man.
Becomes too centralized. So it's interesting.
We love decentralized, in fact, I think. You know,
look, we don't even record in the same room anymore.
At the heart of it, I think we like plucking things from all over the place. And I think the fact that we can bring it all to one podcast really is what makes it special. Rather than us going to one feed and, oh man, let's log into Netflix. There's 80 things coming out this week, you know?
Yeah.
That would be nuts, man. It's scary. That's the first time I felt very scared about the way that I would be taken in media. I mean, like, truly worried that, like, one place for it all would it's just strange to think about.
One studio to rule them all.
To rule them all, man. Yeah.
Ever changing.
Yeah, man. But we'll cover it here on Movie Schmovie. Should anything happen, any developments happen, we will cover it here on Movie Schmovie. I am Mr. Skeleton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Well, we did it. Or Steve, did you have anything else?
That's another one. No, man. I mean, I mentioned last week we finished Nobody Wants This.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the new season. That's why they got announced for a third season. Like the other day.
Sounds like somebody wants this, huh?
Yeah, I think they do. But yeah, I just, man, like I'm in a bit of a rut, man. I haven't watched a lot of movies.
Same.
I really just have struggled to find the time to really focus. I'm gonna watch the Required View, and I want to watch it when it became available to us, or the Welcome to Derry show when it came available to us. But yeah, there's so many things I want to watch. Just not happening. But
you know what, Ron? This means in a few weeks, Steve's going to have come in and have gone to the theater to see 11 movies. In 1 week.
Yeah.
There'll be that time where I have to burn time off, and I just take a week off, and I'm just like every day at the theater trying to see as much as I can.
Yeah. I think you're just going to take out like one of those Thanos gloves and just start putting gems in. I saw this movie.
For each movie.
Our podcast is just going to explode. 11 movies. Oh, man.
Nah, man, that's it. That sounds like an episode.
Yeah.
Moviesmovie.com is the website. You can go there to subscribe to the podcast on whichever platform you prefer. You can listen to the episodes right there on that website. If you do that's great also. And even more, if you go to youtube.com/moviesmovie podcast, you can listen, watch the full episode, or watch clips of the episode. So many options. You just choose what's best for you. We thank you if you're listening, and keep listening. Tell somebody else about the podcast. Share it. Copy a link and maybe text it to a random person in your phone. That'd be great. Or post it to whatever platform you call home on social media. Just kind of help get the word out about the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Again, John's pick for next week: Sneakers. You've got 8 days to watch it on Peacock. Well, 7 days when this podcast comes out to watch it on Peacock. And then we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you've made our day. Thanks.
Bye.
Schmovie.